Well, hi, my name's Taylor. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll be doing fan art. I'll explain that in the time lapse once we start, but just want to start with saying hello, introduce myself, and my cat. He's done. So, anyway, wanted to introduce myself. Again, we'll be doing fan art. We're going to specifically be focusing on Gargoyles today. Have an old Demona applause figure that I wanted to show. You can see all my toys behind me. I'm not nerdy. Anyway, again, we'll be getting into fan art. We'll be doing two different pieces. Demona, which I just showed you, and then Elisa, who's the female. We'll be comparing those two, showing different rendering styles, talking about the differences between them, my opinions as they come up. Nothing too crazy, but again, if you like the video, if you like the content, feel free to subscribe. But again, if you like the video, you like the content, feel free. But again, if you like the content, feel free to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Until then, see you next time. All right, kids. We are back again with another video. This time we were focusing on fan art. This video is going to be unique. It's going to be a double video. Well, I should say we're doing two different drawings. It will be focused on Gargoyles, and we're specifically going to be doing Elisa Maza and Demona, no last name. Castle Wyvern, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, so first we're doing Elisa, and we're just sussing out some pose work. She's supposed to be strong, she's supposed to be attractive. She was actually the original inspiration for my OC Nona. Just a big fan of the show, so. Yeah, focusing on just doing some line work right now. Again, nothing crazy. Why I sketch it in green? I don't know. Why do we do the things we do? This changes a lot as we go. I mean, some of the pose retains, but I guess one of the main things that's different about this video compared to the last one, and if you didn't watch it, feel free to watch the first video. But one of the things that differs is this video is not just going to be line work. This video we're going to take to full render. I don't generally care for doing that. I find it to be a little bit tedious, frankly. Line work is one thing, but it takes a really long time. Once you get into rendering, it can be very satisfying, and the end result can be great. It can make you feel really good if you take your time with it, but you have to take your time with it. It takes forever, and I hate it. Yeah, so this is the basis of the character look. Still working on her hair there, but nothing crazy. I guess one of the main things I want to talk about with this video is the validity of doing fan art. You know, for a long time, well, let's start this way. I like doing fan art. You know, I think anybody who enjoys properties of any kind, and depending on whatever your creative medium is, whether you sculpt or write or draw or whether you just like to talk about it, you know, we like to re-experience the things that we love. They give us nostalgia, and they just give us joy. Yeah, that's nice. But I think it's an easy trap to think that fan art isn't real art or is lesser than doing your own, you know, OCs or original characters. And to some extent I get that. I think you should prioritize yourself. But I don't think there's anything wrong with doing your own work. And I think it can get a bad rap, or you can self-impose, you know. Let's just say that I've done focus too much on doing this stuff, not focusing on doing my own things. You know, that's how it goes. Yeah, so already what we're doing here is we're doing some color blocking. You can see here I was, do I want to do a gun? Do I want to do a badge? Stuck with a gun. But yeah, we were doing some color blocking, just lining out the base colors, maybe some shadows. This is real basic, but we're going to really refine this as we go deeper and deeper into the video. Thanks, Quoth. Let me pause. And we're back. I apologize about that. My cat, Quoth, wouldn't shut the hell up. We're leaving it in. We're leaving it in. Okay. Anyway, we're going deeper on colors. To say that I have a real process fine-tuned for that, I don't. Basically, I work with a light color. I go to a dark tone. I find a highlight. And then I work, you know, middle. You blend those colors, you branch out. You saw me putting a little bit of red on our cheeks. That's important for, you know, undertones of blood that's under your skin. All goes to adding realism. Yeah, I did some jacket highlightings. Honestly, pretty happy with how the jacket came out. Again, I said this, I don't really like rendering, so I don't do it that much. I know how it works, I get it, but I don't like it. This piece overall I'm really happy with. I honestly don't think it's done, but I'm putting in the video, so I think that means it's done. Well, shit. Highlights, hair, blue hair. That's something that I always really enjoyed. You know, frequently in cartoons, you'll typically see that black hair, well, obviously it's black, but generally gets blue highlights. I really like when they do that. You know, sometimes they'll do like a brown highlight or just white. I really, really enjoy when it's a blue highlight. Specifically, I think of Gargoyles, or I think of Batman the Animated Series, with like his cape and cowl and stuff. Yeah, this drawing in particular, and if I keep saying yeah, I'm sorry. Maybe, you know, make a game out of it. It can be fun for the whole family. No, I don't know what I was saying. Oh, this drawing. Yeah, this drawing in general jumps around a lot. So you saw me do all the rough initial line work. Then I did blocks of color, refine the drawing, refine the colors, go back and refine the line work again. It is iterative in the best meaning of the word. And it's basically a job that's never done. You know, I think it's easy to think, let me say this, I guess. I've realized now, after doing the first video and getting into this video, this channel's not going to be a how-to. It's really not what I care about. There's a million channels that are going to tell you how to draw. This is really about the creative process, and that's what we're focusing on. You know, we're walking through my decisions, choices, whether I like them in the end, whether I don't like them in the end. Yeah, I just wanted to say that at the start. But anyway, we're still refining. You can see too, like for example, like her pants, rough as hell. Scraggly ass pants. But the face overall looks pretty good. And I tend to do that. I mean, sometimes I'll bounce around, but sometimes I get hyper focus in one area. So yeah, again, we're just still focusing on that face, tightening it up. And again, this video, we'll get to that later, obviously, or around the halfway mark, because it's 2 drawings. But it is 2 drawings. And I thought it'd be interesting because honestly, the rendering styles between the 2 drawings are actually pretty different. The second one is fairly, I don't know, simplistic or flat, but it's kind of cool to show the variations in style. And the second one is usually what I go for. As I said, I hate doing the full render. Here we're just refining the hair sculpts, trying to give individuality to some of those hairs, making it a little bit more dynamic. You know, I did all the original highlighting on the hair, deleted it. I've put it back now. I'll probably do that another 3 times. You know, it's interesting, and God, I keep saying that, so I apologize. It is interesting, though, because I have drawn these characters a lot over the years, and I definitely think it'll be different, or how should I say that? I think it'll be intriguing to show the progression of some of these. In a future video, I think what I'll do is I'll show a bunch of pieces that I've quote-unquote finished in the past to show some progression. One thing I'm not going to say that is interesting, because I keep saying that, but one thing that comes up a lot from people who quote-unquote can't draw, and I think that's such a load of shit. You could draw, you just never put the time in. Drawing is effort, like anything in life. If you want to be good at it, you can be good at it. You know, I've been drawing since I was a kid, and those drawings are shit. Trust me, I have them. They're in a drawer. Maybe they'll be in a future video. But they're all bubbled arms looking like Popeye, or, you know, soap in a sock for the muscles. Nothing exciting, nothing cool. But I think it'll be interesting to show progression. Maybe it's inspiring. If anything, it makes me feel better about my own self. And, you know, if this channel isn't here to validate me, then what the hell's it for? Yeah, I'm focusing on her head right now. I think I'll go back to that later, but excuse me. Balancing the musculature is always really fun. Striking that balance of, I won't say realism. I don't think I ever fully get to realism. I like to keep it stylized. I like to lean into cartooning, but I don't know. It's always really fun to balance that out, especially when you're doing a feminine character. Most of the time, and you wouldn't know that, because everything that's going to be on my channel so far is going to be females. But for the longest time, I was terrible at drawing women. You know, I grew up on Dragon Ball Z and all the masculine, hyper-masculine shows. So musculature was always a huge focus, and drawing guys. So I always drew that, and that's what I got good at. So then switching to women, I always wanted to draw them overly muscular. And there's nothing wrong with having a muscular looking women. The problem is if you're trying to keep a lot of the femininity. And again, it's a balance, and I think it's a really interesting balance, and it's a fun one to strike. That is a challenge I do actually enjoy. Again, coloring, doing all this rendering, I don't really find it that fun. I find it tedious as hell. But it gives a good result. You can see the pants are starting to look decent. But finding the balance of muscles and curves and all the weights of the lines, that's something I always really found interesting. Alas, I'm rambling. Yeah, now we're going back in, we're refining the jacket. You can see, obviously, like I said, you know, individual parts of the body are becoming more solidified. So again, I usually do a really rough underdrawing. You saw me refine that quite a lot in the beginning, but even after all that refining, which is probably, you know, fast forwarded here for like 2 minutes, yeah, days of my life probably. I am not fast. I never claimed to be. And you will never claim that either.
But, you know, it's always refining. It's always iterative. That's the whole process. You know, very rarely do you ever start something you're like, yes, this is it. I nailed it. The perfect representation of my mind's eye. I am one with the pen. Not quite. I don't know if I keep this shadow on the face, but I liked how it looked. I think I didn't. What are you gonna do? One area in particular that I definitely know that I still struggle with, and honestly it causes me way more headache the more that I do it, is light sources, and really thinking about that when it comes to rendering. You know, most of the time when it comes to rendering with colors, I start with a very basic flats like you saw, and I throw in some darks and lights, but I do that from a very stereotypical light source. You know, ideal lighting where the bottom of you is dark, the top of you is light, and it's very even. Very rarely do I start with an intended light source in mind. I know that's what you should do. I'm not good at keeping it in mind. So you'll see in here, maybe you've noticed already, but I do a bunch of rendering, and then maybe I realize at some point, oh yeah, light comes from a direction. So then I go back and then I rework all the rendering I did because I forgot to consider that in the first place. Obviously you can see the side of her body. I'm trying to imply the light is coming from somewhere above her right shoulder from this angle, shining shadow onto her body from behind her jacket. The left side of her face is in shadow, the right side of her face is in light. Yeah, I mean, those are the things you have to think of when you're really going through the process here. Yes, we added some undies. These drawings, particularly the second one, is spicy. So get ready for that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think everybody feels that way. I'm very conscious of what will other people think when I draw this. Maybe I'll never post it. It'll just be for me. Yeah, that's just my brain. But I think it could be easy to, I don't know, how do I say that? To not give credence to or to diminish drawings that are more sexual in nature. I don't mean that necessarily as like porn. I just mean drawings that are heavily evocative, you know, make you think or feel a certain way. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if you're going to be looking at a drawing, you might as well like what you're looking at. So, and frankly, it's way more fun to draw that than just a flat stereotypical pose. Now, yeah, look at those lips. Think about when you color something and every possible shade you could do, because that's what happens. What color of red should this be? Bright, dark, in between? There's 1,000,002 possibilities, and you go through every one of them unless you're just a genius. That's not me. Yeah, so again, still refining, working on some details for the hair, throwing that in, making it look better. I think we're getting close to the end of this specific drawing now. We'll see. I don't have it memorized, and I'm not looking at a timer, so what I will say is, though, regardless, once this is all wrapped up, I'm going to throw this drawing in, put it directly next to the finished result of the second drawing. Not that they're quite a set, but they're kind of a set. They sort of go together. They're both powerful, strong women, kind of sexualized poses, sorry, and staring down the barrel of the camera. Elisa literally has a gun pointed at your face. And you know, her gun, look how stylish it is. Look how damn basic that gun is as a shit-ass gun. It's like a oval on top with some angled edges and just a black circle. That's it. That's a gun. That's all you need. One of the things I really, really enjoyed, and I guess take a shot because I keep saying that damn phrase, I really liked, this isn't weird. It's not weird. I like the muscles of her chest. Her pecs, specifically. The way that the lights kind of glistened off that and showed some depth and showed that she was strong there. I really like how that came out in this drawing. You know, sometimes that just happens by accident. You're throwing colors down, you're trying to work through shapes, but really it's just an accident. There is no deliberate intent. Maybe back up. There is deliberate intent. Deliberate intent. I can speak deliberately. But there is not confidence that it's going to work in the way that you think. Sometimes you just get lucky. You really do. I mean, look here. Still, I was even refining the line work there all the way then at this point. I think we're right at the end here, if I recall correctly, but maybe not. We'll see what happens. Again, this is a drawing I enjoy. I am overall very pleased with it. But from the stereotypical artist mind, your work is never done. You know, you just choose when to abandon it. And I abandoned a lot of work. You know, frankly, this is a piece that I carried through to fruition much further than any other that I've done. Like I said, I don't really put as much effort into rendering in this capacity, and I'm happy that I did. It's a fun challenge. You get to learn, you get to grow, but damn, it takes forever. So, you know, what are you gonna do? Again, darkening those eyes, trying to intensify the stare. Sorry if that looked like a flash for anybody. Frequently, I'll play around the background colors for multiple reasons. One, balance the piece, right? The colors that are used in her design. Well, first look, still doing line art, still not good enough. And I can kind of find that as I'm getting the shapes of the muscles that I'm getting from the rendering. And now I've lost my train of thought. Oh well. Oh, what I was saying is the background colors. Yeah, so, you know, the background color you choose is going to balance out the colors that you've used within the design. Make it feel like it's, honestly, it'll provide its own mood, frankly. You know, if I did a pink background versus a blue background, it's going to make it feel entirely different. That being said, too, changing that background color, if your paint that you've applied isn't, you know, opaque or thick enough, that might affect the top colors. So sometimes I'll do that to see if the colors are altering in any capacity. Okay, now we're on to the second drawing. This is going to be Nimona. You can see I had no idea what I was going to fucking do with her trying. All kind of swan dives and yeah, she has wings. So I was seeing if I was going to do a flying pose, bailed on that hard, eject, and then decided to do a similar straight-on pose to Elisa. Honestly, Nimona is more fun to draw. She's got really cool hair, and I am honestly really happy with how it came out. But she's got a fun tiara. She's just evil. Who doesn't love drawing evil characters? They're always more fun. They just have that sinister quality. And she's a fucking demon. She's a gargoyle, you know? So she is more jacked, justifiably so. She's got bad ears and sharp teeth and elbow spikes, and it's just more fun. You can't deny it's more fun. Yeah, so tweaking poses here, I'll be doing that more and more and more, obviously. Again, this one will be more spicy. Nothing is seen. It's real close. Be ready. Yeah, look at that hair. Honestly, it already looks cool. It's just a badass design. You give that huge, like, 80s hair, it's like, fuck yeah. She's the shit. But, yeah, working on our loincloth right now. Working on our cleavages. Trying to figure out how I want that to look. I want it to be snug and fit, but I want it to be tattered because I think the cloth is much more interesting to look at if it has a tattered quality to it. You know, the character in specific is supposed to have been around for 1,000 years. Yeah, that's the lore. And why the hell would her clothes be perfect? I mean, I'm sure she's changed her clothes at some point, but they're not going to be perfect. They shouldn't be. It's not fucking spandex workout gear, so you know, now I'm hoping that I'm remembering the finished product that does have the tatters. We'll see. I hope I'm correct. Yeah, reworking the pose, as you could maybe see, she was definitely imbalanced. I like to do this. I used to do, I like to do green under art. I do that to identify the bone structure. It helps you figure out how to balance her body, make sure the hips are properly aligned with, properly aligned underneath the torso, so she's in a realistic posture. You can see there, obviously, I shrunk her down. She was too big for the frame. Yeah, throw it in her belt, throw it in her skirt, working on solidifying those claws and those hands. You know, I'm curious if there are any artists who do watch this video, what the hell your take of it is. Not necessarily the quality of the art, but what your take on is the video of itself. You know, like I said, this isn't going to be a how-to channel. This is more about going through the creative process, talking through my brain, seeing if anything interesting comes up. I doubt it will. But is it interesting to someone who does art? I would be curious to know. So if you do, let me know. Again, refining that hair, trying to lock it in. Again, I am very happy with how it came out. You know, generally the process that I like to go for, and it's pretty standard, is go for a big shape, identify smaller shapes within that, and then from there you can go to piece it out. Give all the details, give these little lines, flyaways, anything that makes it really interesting, obviously. But I'm fairly certain, right? So I did a big rough for her hair. Here's the middle refining, and I'll probably do a finished line work after that. So, you know, sometimes on a piece like this, you can do 3 or 4 levels of line work. And, you know, line work is really important to me. I really enjoy clean light work because I was super influenced by cartoons and animation, and you always see that in those. But, you know, some people don't give a damn about line work, really. They do a quick rough and they just paint the rest of it. Not my style. Yeah, so belts and loincloth, per usual. I didn't say before, but I'm drinking coffee again, so anybody drinking coffee, let me know. I think it'll be a theme in every one of my videos. Doesn't say anything bad about me, and I don't drink too much, so shut your dirty mouth. Yep, working on the hips. Yep, here we go, throw it in her cape now. You know, it's interesting. God, I am sorry. It just keeps happening. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. Your curse is my curse. But when you do things like this, it is annoying, right? I really, really enjoy how her right shoulder came out. I enjoy her collarbone, you know, some of those lines basically, how it tapers from the bicep and the tricep into the deltoid. But I have to throw a damn cape on her. And her cape, or her wings, will cover up that section. So you have to make a deliberate choice of, when I add this, how am I going to add it? Am I just going to throw away the lines that I made that I really like? Or do I try to drape it around those lines so that I can get the best of both worlds? And that's the balance that I think I try to strike. We'll see here when it comes back up. But you can see I didn't just lock it in right away. I did just delete that part because that was my internal struggle. That's what I realized. You can see already the wing on the left side of that main deltoid I was talking about. It's riding high. If I remember, and I made this drawing honestly quite a long time ago at this point, but you know, we're just getting around to making videos. I'm fairly certain that you'll see me edit it and pull it down to expose more of that deltoid. Yeah, this one I feel much more confident in. This one I feel this drawing in general. Honestly, I feel like I kind of nailed it. I don't say that from an arrogant place. I really don't, because as we've talked about before, I'm not. Pretty insecure. But I think that I'm really, really satisfied with the quality of this drawing. I think it actually did match my mind's eye view of what I wanted it to look like. I think it landed in a style that I can consider my own. I don't know even what the hell that means. People talk about their style all the time. But this feels like something I drew. Or it's at least something that's in a style I like. I feel like my style changes all the time. But I do like this one more than Elisa, more than the first one personally. Oh, hey, the tatters! Look, I told you. And I increased her boob size slightly because, you know, I'm a guy. And slightly more. Well, you know, just a little bit more. Just tweak it. I would be curious what people think. You know, like I said, the rendering is something that I don't focus on. There, you could see me lowering that cape like I talked about earlier. I would be curious what people think. Do you enjoy the line art by itself, or do you like it colored? Do you like it full rendered? Or, like I said, this one has a kind of a unique lighting setup, and you'll see it once we get to it, once I start coloring. It's got a much more dramatic lighting. But I would be very curious, you know, what is your favorite? Do you like pure line art? General white background. Again, this is kind of blue. Easier on the eyes and in the same theme as the last drawing. But do you like base line art? Do you like the, here we go, trying to play it with shadows. Do you like the full rendered of Lisa, the first one? Or do you like this one that's a much more stylized and simplistic color or render? Let me know what you think. I would be very curious to see what people's opinions are, because I think that's something that's going to vary wildly. Yeah, see, these base colors like this, I really liked how this came out, and I should have left it. I like how warm and soft it is. I think it just really goes with the image. I think I could have left it right here. I don't. I try to render it to get it to a quality that's closer to Elisa's, because I want them to feel like more of a pair. But again, let me know what you think. I would be very curious to know. So yeah, again, focusing on the light source, underlighting her so she makes it look a little more evil, or trying to, at least with those large cheekbones she has, and that tiara, evil brow. You know, I do think, I'm not really a fan of, I've said this already, I'm not really a fan of rendering, well, in general, but rendering skin, I don't know why. Maybe I feel it's more tedious. I really like rendering the hair. Demona specifically, but I think it's because she has really fucking cool hair. She is like uber mullet, and I know you can't really tell because it goes behind her and she has wings, but it's like the fucking coolest hair ever. Again, I apologize for clearing my throat. Yep, still reworking where that light source is coming from. You know, is it dark on top? If it is, that should be consistent. You should probably rework some of what you're doing here. Because right now it's not right. Again, I apologize. Yeah, here we go. Here I'm trying to reel that in. Trying to ensure the darks are on the top. They would be masked by how that light is hitting her. I thought that looks cool too. Gives it like a metallic look. Looks pretty fucking awesome. But we are basically done here. Trying to figure out how I can do a signature of my name. You know. And there we go. I don't know if I adjust those highlights. Frankly, I think she's overshined. Let's see what I do. But look there. I signed my name to say that I was done. And then I went in and I reworked all of the highlighting. Welcome to the bane of my existence. See, this is why you can go through phases of redrawing all the time, and then you're like, maybe I want a break. Maybe I don't want to do this for a little bit. Because it is a long process. But it's worth it. You can see, like, doing these edits here, they make a world of difference to help unify that light source. Well, at least in my mind, they're helping. I hope that translates for you. I could definitely do a better job than what is shown here. I try to rework the light source so it's coming from the bottom left corner now, as opposed to straight below her. I think that made her look a little bit more dynamic, give a little more shade to the side of her body, a little more depth. Again, I do think she's a little over-highlighted, but for the light source I was going for, it's not terrible. Yeah, look though. Look how much extra work went in after I signed my name. Oh man. Again, this is not rendered nearly as much. I mean, look at the skin tones, right? Much more simplistic, much more blocky in color. Let me know. And this is a longer video too, so let me know if you like that. If you don't, it's going to vary on the length of the drawings I'm doing. You know, doing both of these together made the video significantly longer, but probably around 15 minutes is going to be a good basis. So yeah, let me know if you like it shorter or longer. I can do more comparisons, which I think will make it interesting and more to talk about. If I'm just doing a single drawing, it might get a little boring. But yeah, I want to be able to deliver videos that people are going to enjoy, so. Still reworking that. Realizing that if she's holding that up, there might be creating a shadow on her body. That's important. I tell you what, right there, that cheek by the nose into the eye, I hate that part. That's the part that fucks with me every single time. But yeah, there we go. That wraps up both of those videos. Excuse me, both of those drawings. I'll be throwing a side-by-side shot here at the end. And, you know, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like. Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. I like it. I like you. Hope you like me. Anyway, until next time. See you then.